Andrew,
Hey!
it's awesome to have you here.
Thanks
two,
for having
two
me.
dudes in the studio. We got Ken back there working the cameras. Thank you, Kenny. No, it's like really awesome to be able to just like talk to you and learn a little bit more. I mean, I know a lot about you, obviously. We are related. But it's really good for like, I mean, some of the other guys on the team, they probably will talk about some stuff that they have no idea, you know? So if
exactly.
you just want to just like start off, like introduce yourself and then just like tell me a little bit about how you ended up here at MyHome.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thanks for having me. This is awesome. Yeah, for everyone who doesn't know, my name's Andrew Danilack. Just moved to Nashville a few months ago, back in January. Yeah, for the launch of MyHome, and all my family pretty much lives here. So, yeah, it's really awesome to be close to family again.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah.
okay, so going way back, talk to me a little bit about, not necessarily just like growing up, but like hockey and the importance that that has in your life. And then, you obviously have a military background as well. Like talk a little bit about like your ROTC and stuff.
Yeah, out of high school, I went to Seton Hall University where I did ROTC to commission as an infantry officer back in 2015. During that time, I also played ice hockey on their club team. It was so much fun. Got back on the ice. It was a great time. Spent a lot of time with ROTC, several hours every single day. We had a crazy PMS who was out of his mind.
Yeah.
So not going to go down that road. But yeah, had an awesome time. College was great. Then commissioned into the infantry where I moved down to Georgia. Did IBOLC, had a blast down there, made some great friends. Went up to Fort Drum, New York, which is just about 30 minutes from the border of Canada. Extremely cold, probably the coldest base. I think it's on average colder than Alaska as well. Yeah, went up there, graduated from Ranger School, led a few platoons, brought one to Afghanistan, had a great time over there. Really fortunate, really lucky to be able to lead a platoon in Afghanistan. And yeah, came back, pretty much got out. Was going to go SF and was like,
Yeah.
not for me.
Something else on the horizon.
Yeah, exactly. So then had a great time, great experience, awesome leaders in the military, great friends, and then got out, worked in finance, did Cameron Brooks, went to Johnson & Johnson, was a senior financial analyst there for not very long, maybe 6 months. Figured out that was not for me. Wanted to get back to leading a team, being around people, influencing change, and just, kind of seeing my efforts work.
Yeah.
And not really being stuck to a 9 to 5 and having somebody else, give me a paycheck.
Yeah, and just sitting behind a desk and or behind a computer screen.
Yeah, I love the finance world, and corporate finance is rather dry, but yeah, it definitely wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Got out, started my own business, very similar to what Gabe was doing, just restoration. Had a blast in restoration. It's extremely dirty. It's a lot dirtier than I thought it was going to be. We did a biohazard services, which was pretty gruesome, mostly just water mint and stuff like that. But yeah, had a team, about 5 down there when I was in New Jersey. Oh yeah, so that was in New Jersey, United Remediations, lived in Bridgewater, did that for about 3 years. Sold the business, came down here to be part of the team with MyHome.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the like skills that you learned, whether it was in restoration? Obviously, you learned a lot of skills that transfer over with the home services, but like even just like leadership skills in the military that you implement every day here at MyHome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's fantastic, and that's why I love working with small teams and being a part of something like this and being able to use leadership, and it's incredible to be around other great leaders too.
Yeah.
And it just makes a work environment flow so much better. Everyone has a job, everyone knows what they're doing, and just it's pretty awesome.
Even though we're all wearing all the hats.
Yeah, we're all doing just a million different things and kind of figuring it out as we go, but it's really leads to a pleasure work environment.
Yeah. I mean, one day we come in, we have one company name, and we're like, well, actually, we need a new name.
Yeah.
We're renaming the company.
It's called Tinder.
Whiteboard it out, and we figured out what are we doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's that collaborative environment. I think that we have here is something that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, and it's very hard to see, and there's never a bad idea.
Yeah.
Everyone's always encouraged to just get it out, just say what you need to say, and provide that input to the team.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's such a conducive working environment.
Yeah, and then we kind of figure out, like, we take some of the best ideas and we even like mix them together and
Yep.
you know, and figure out exactly like, okay, what steps do we take next? Where do we take this?
Yep.
Yeah, and there's so many changes. I know we talked about in Ken's podcast about the changes that are going on, you know, constantly, and it's never an easy day because there's nothing really ever as consistent as we'd like it.
Yeah.
But the ability for the entire team to be so agile, I mean,
Oh, it's incredible.
how lucky.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are so fortunate. And like even with all the AI implementations and how the app's changing literally on a weekly basis and the features that we get into and, you know, focus on this week and, oh, you know, we're not actually doing that anymore. This is 10 times better. We're going to take this avenue.
Yeah. So as the product manager yourself, what are some of the programs? I know Jira and Confluence and everything. Like, talk a little bit about, you know, how we're staying organized behind the scenes, you know, from a tech perspective.
Yeah, so we use a lot of different software to build our software, and Joel will go into that a little bit more. But as in product, we use Jira, Confluence, HubSpot. What else do we use? We use a lot of different software platforms to kind of keep ourselves organized and focus on sprints and features that we need to get done, you know, prioritize our work. It's super cool, super organized, and it's all new to me, and it's so much fun to learn about, and it's really awesome technology, and it's really fun to implement it into our
especially
everyday.
in like work with Joel and Corey every day.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking, I don't even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's a different language.
One day.
Yeah.
So talking more about MyHome, you know, describe it in like a sentence, or like when you hear MyHome, like what do you instantaneously think about?
I think of just efficiency. I think of a platform that's going to provide, disrupt a marketplace that's going to just be very efficient, cost effective, better for everyone on the vendor side, the homeowner side. Everybody is going to win. It's efficient.
What are some of the features for, let's start with homeowners, that you see as, you know, some just revolutionary new features that, you know, are not seen in other competitors out there?
Yeah, so our matching process, it's not a lead gen source. A lot of other software companies are pretty much just creating these marketplaces that are essentially leads from homeowners looking for quotes.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. We have like a multi-step process to kind of filter that out.
Yep.
So I think that is the greatest feature. Well, that's kind of a vendor feature, but yeah,
I mean,
even for the homeowner, they're not going to be bothered with 7 different companies reaching out to them, providing them nonsense just to get to their house. You know? You don't have to schedule for 2 weeks with a vendor. You just go on the app, click what you want to, what service you need.
You don't even have to talk on the phone with anyone.
No.
Yeah.
You really don't. The
Yeah.
collectible services like reoccurring, lawn care, pest, pool, all of those smaller things, junk removal, you don't have to talk to another human.
Yeah.
You literally go on the app, it tells you an estimate.
So walk through that process. Like, how does it, so as a homeowner, if you were to, let's say you're scheduling for house cleaning, you know, what does that process look like?
It's very simple. So you essentially create an account, takes about 2 minutes, put in your information. Our APIs can pull every room in your house, your square foot, yard size, literally everything, so that the app already knows how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. If you're doing a kitchen remodel, how large is, how many square foot of countertop.
I mean, that takes out, like, if you go on, let's say, Angie's, you have to answer, 30 questions?
Yeah, and then
you keep
go to the
going
next
page
page
next,
and go to the
next.
Yeah, I don't want to bash any other companies at all, but it's a far less intuitive process than MyHome.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's keep talking about the flow. So as the homeowner getting that housekeeper to actually service the job.
Yeah, so you literally open the app, click housekeeping, put in the parameters. The parameters through the API will pretty much set it for you.
Auto-populate most of them.
What you're selecting is the frequency. How many times a week or a month do you want your house cleaned? Do you want a deep clean? You kind of set those parameters, personal choices. I think it asks if you have like pets or something. And it spits out an estimate which is dialed in for the national market right now based on service vendors and a bunch of other just basic research. So then that goes to the vendor side. It matches with, based on the algorithm, the vendor, the closest vendor, a bunch of different parameters.
Yeah.
And then once the vendor views it, says that's okay for me, that looks good, they could adjust the estimate, set up like 3 dates and times for them to come out to either do an on-site estimate or just perform the job. There's enough information in there that they could just go out and just do the job.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that's reoccurring is set up. Everything payment-wise is all set up. It's very seamless. We're using Stripe to process the payments.
Yep. And then it auto-populates into your calendar too?
Yeah, so there's a calendar on the homeowner side, and it'll drop down, and you can kind of see when the next cleanings are, and if the vendor wants to go in there and change it or communicate. There's a messaging portion too, where you can upload pictures. Like, let's say a vendor puts a hole in your sheetrock or something, whatever. You can go in there, upload pictures, talk directly, message with the vendor itself. So yeah, for booking the house cleaning, sets up, frequency, price, literally everything, all the parameters. Maybe that process takes 24 hours. It really depends on the homeowner and the vendor's ability to communicate with each other to a degree. And accepting the job and then reaching out to the homeowner.
And then there's no more homeowner getting inundated with phone calls and emails and text messages because none of their personal information is sent out, right?
Exactly.
Everything stays on the platform.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the vendor doesn't get anything besides it's the first name of the homeowner and their zip code. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
They'll get the address once they accept the
job.
Right.
Of course, they have to show up to the right house.
And they'll see all the parameters that the homeowner types in, but they're not getting any other information. All of your info is completely secure.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then. So then you can schedule multiple jobs. So you can have your housekeeper, you can have your lawn care, you can have your pest control. Everything's on one platform.
Yep, and it'll pop back up. It'll show you what's next. It'll show the logo of the vendor, all of their information, messaging opportunities, literally everything. How much you've spent, how much you're spending. And you can change pretty much everything, the frequency to the job type within the application of the profile page.
So as a business owner yourself in restoration, you have dealt with some homeowners that are less than ideal. So how's that two-sided rating system work with MyHome?
Yeah, so
kind of protects both sides.
We do. We do have a two-sided rating system, which is fantastic. So when I was running United Remediation in New Jersey, we come across homeowners that did not want to work with us to any degree. They wouldn't want to pay us. They were yelling at my technicians inappropriately. And it had nothing to do with what we were doing professionally or business-wise. It was just their personality. So to avoid that kind of back and forth, the vendor will be able to see a rating on the homeowner. So if you have house cleaners come in and you're just not a good person at all,
the vendors are going to know.
And they'll either increase their pricing or they won't match with you, and your request will sit there because you have a 1-star rating rather than 5.
And because normally how it works is just the homeowner gets to see all the reviews on the vendor. It's not transparent. It's not two-way.
Exactly. And I thought of this when I was running United Remediation. I'm like, we need to be able to rate the homeowners, because
it protects the vendors too. It
does. It saves so much time. If we knew going into these jobs that this is what we were going to get. In regards to like the homeowner.
Just the extra hassle that vendors just don't have to deal with. They don't need to deal with that. Exactly.
So it'll be.
There's homeowners out there that just won't pay you.
I still have outstanding bills. They're literally or invoices. They're like, no. I'm like, I'm not going to put a lien on your house. I'm not malicious. Like, we're a small veteran-owned business. Please, this is the work. Like, this is what we did. Here are the pictures and everything. They're like, I'm not doing it. I know. It's crazy. So I think that's definitely a huge feature that MyHome offers. It's kind of like similar to Uber, too. Yes.
You can't get into the back of someone else's vehicle and, be invasive and,
you gotta
rude.
Be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a good person.
Exactly.
All around.
So what are some of the challenges that you face every day working here at MyHome?
Well, I wouldn't say there's really challenges. I think, challenge. I don't know. I wouldn't say challenge, but the day-to-day is pretty simple. We have our sprints laid out. We have all of our tickets. We know what we're doing. I wouldn't say there's really any major challenges that we go through on a daily basis. And maybe like taking out the trash.
We got to keep the place clean, right? We'll use MyHome to get someone after that. But I know It's kind of funny because Gabe and I in our house, everything's falling. We're just letting things fall apart so that as soon as we go live with MyHome, we can start hiring the vendors to come and fix everything. Our microwave doesn't. You have to hold the door. Our railings falling off.
I still can't believe you guys haven't fixed that. But literally, we have like an appliance repair section where you could just type in microwave what you want repaired, and it goes directly to a local vetted service provider, and they come out and they fix it.
And we'll match with one.
The pricing is pretty spot on too.
Yeah.
So you'll kind of know what's coming.
And as a homeowner, having that quote that instantaneously pops up as you change the parameters, nothing does that right now. There's no platform out there that gives you that quote this quickly.
There are some that do, but they're kind of they're a larger.
Maybe like different
like a
apps
window.
For like different services. Like if there was like a specific handyman one, then you can get like a.
Yeah, I mean the vendors don't even have that on their own websites. Like there's no virtual quoting going on.
Yeah.
You could build a landing page as a business owner and implement these parameters and have virtual estimating.
Yeah.
With no problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at least we got
really
that built in. Yeah,
yes.
it's just convenience. Once again.
Yeah, it's just eliminating 2 steps.
Yeah.
For communication, which is probably the least inefficient thing.
All right, so I guess kind of just going back to like you, what is one accomplishment that you've done in your life that you are the most proud of?
Oh. Honestly, being here working for MyHome is a pretty substantial accomplishment. Very happy every morning when I wake up for the opportunity to come down here and just build this.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
What would you say is like culture-wise, like within the company that, I mean, almost everyone has said that. So like there's got to be something.
Yeah, and it is. Everyone here has been in a leadership position. They kind of don't need to be told what to do. Everyone has a good head on their shoulders, good personality, and that just facilitates a culture to get shit done.
Yeah, exactly.
And it works.
Yeah.
And I look forward to that almost every single morning.
Yeah.
Every single morning. Unless you're just drinking bar taco the night prior.
Yeah, bar taco. And then what's one thing about you that some of the other guys on the team don't already know?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty transparent in the way I come across.
Yeah. Think like maybe an army story or something.
Yeah. We did talk about this earlier, to share like a crazy story.
Yeah.
And I don't know if most people know this because it was pretty like a closed door thing. So as I mentioned, I was living in Georgia for IBOLC, which is Infantry Basic Officer Leadership Course. Mm-hmm. Very easy, very normal school. It's a few months long, super easy. So we were in the woods of Georgia setting up a patrol base, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or maybe 3. And we have TACs, or like just leadership, like E5s or E6s, couple of Rangerback guys, and they would like throw sim grenades or like simulate, blank rounds, belt fed, like 240 or something, to simulate like taking contact in a patrol base at a ridiculous hour of the day. So one time the instructor loaded from the ASP a full belt of I think it was 5.56, 249, and unloaded 100 rounds, like as everyone live ammo. We were all just sleeping, kind of just chilling out, and just like firing right over everyone's head.
What the fuck?
We woke up like because we were like, what the hell? Who's shooting a 240? It was loud as hell. And so we kind of just woke up. I was in leadership, so I'm like, I'm not getting up. Thank God.
Yeah.
You could have got hit. And so like when the sun started coming out, we saw like a couple of like tree branches, and like it was just very weird. Nobody was talking. So
no one knew that at the time when it was going on?
Nobody said anything. Nobody was talking about it. You just like once everything kind of cleared up and we were actually waking up, you saw some of the branches down and like the trees shot, and everyone was super quiet. So it was just kind of like, don't say anything. This never happened. Like, yeah. That's
pretty serious. And no one got hurt?
Somebody took a BFA. So the 249, it was set up for blanks.
Yeah.
So the BFA hit somebody in the shoulder. I think he had to go to the hospital or something. But honestly, no, nobody took anything.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Intense.
God was literally like, nobody's dying today.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to be watching over every single person.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good story.
Yeah, that's probably something that nobody knew.
I don't think anyone knows that.
Interesting story.
Besides me. Yeah. Man, okay. I mean, thank goodness God was watching out.
Yeah.
That's intense. Yep. All right, so kind of back to MyHome a little bit.
Yep.
Just in closing, what's one thing that you envision in the future? Like, where do you see this going?
I see taking a sizable market share in the home service industry, utilizing a lot of AI to generate the matching process between the homeowner and the vendor. So much as the homeowner literally logging on, having a search like a 4.0 just at the top, and we can have it like an API just pull into that chat. The AI would know every single thing that's ever been done to the house, like every parameter, and it recommends based on the last time you had a roof installed, what you need to do, and it'll connect you to a vendor, spit out pricing, and really just
like predictive maintenance.
Yeah, and your house is literally taking care of itself, and it puts everything. It could essentially schedule all of that preventative maintenance for you without even having to do anything.
Yeah, because AI isn't going to be taking away the handyman. AI is
No,
not
no,
going
it's
to
gonna
be
make
taking away
it
the
so much
plumber.
easier
But
for
it's
the
just going to
handyman.
streamline everything for the homeowner
Yeah,
based off of what the data that's been aggregated over the years, and then now everything is just completely hands off and streamlined.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty sick. That's not gonna, obviously for a while. The way we have it set up right now is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to take considerable market share relatively quickly. Launch out of Nashville, move to the other cities, and
I mean, it needs to get in
the
the thing we need to do is just educate the homeowner on how convenient it is, how much easier it is, like how it's gonna like change their lot, like literally.
Yeah, it's so easy. I don't if my largest asset, if you have $1 million house, whatever, relative to your income, it's majority of the time your largest asset, and if you're not taking those steps to prevent failure, or just take care of it, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, they honestly, you just have to learn about it, know that it's the platform exists, and just download it, use it, and see how
you'll get
easy
stuck.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be one of those apps on your phone.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the things that you've learned in your restoration career. I mean, because obviously being in the home services industry for as many years as you were, that translates into what we're doing here at MyHome.
Absolutely. This is literally one of the most vital parts of this app being successful. You have to take care of the vendors. As a service provider myself, you learn how everyone's trying to get in your pocket. Everyone's always trying to take advantage of you every instance they possibly can. And you just got to be careful and understand that people aren't generally out to help. And this application is.
Yeah.
As a business owner, as a vendor, as a service provider, I seriously understand the headaches that they go through. And this application, yes, it is built for the homeowner. It's made to be efficient and intuitive and streamline that process, the whole process. But we're taking care of the vendors. And I think that is the key to success on this platform.
What are some of the things that we have built in for the vendors that make it as trustworthy and convenient as possible?
Yeah, so all payments could go through the app if they want to. 90% of the time they will, which is huge. So you're not going to ever be screwed on receiving payment. Payments happen a lot faster.
Yep.
How the workflow essentially is as follows. The homeowner will request a service, the vendor accepts, the vendor performs the service, the vendor closes the ticket. As soon as they close the ticket with the agreed upon amount from the homeowner and the vendor.
And it's all done on the platform.
Yep, all on the platform. They just click it.
Job complete.
Job complete.
Yep.
Money is transferred through Stripe into their account. Now there's that 1 to 3, very similar to Venmo, where there's that 1 to 3
business days
to have it transferred to your bank account, but it's sitting in your account.
Yeah.
So that is crucial. We also take measures to prevent homeowners from jumping on and requesting quotes. We initially had the multi-quote built in for roofing and a bunch of other services, and we've completely nixed that. It's going to one vendor only. There's none of this, I need to beat out all these other vendors and develop it.
It's less competitive on the vendor side.
It is less competitive, and I think it's a lot more conducive for their general operations.
Yeah.
And it'll help their bottom line, and it's damn near free for the vendor to use.
Yeah.
There's no upfront cost. We're not asking for money before you go out and do a job. You just get paid.
Yep.
There's no subscription right now. There is a very, very marginal, I think it's 25 cents per transaction to move it from your one account to the other.
But you can let it aggregate there. It doesn't have to, it's not like every time.
Yeah, it's not like we're taking 12%.
Yeah.
Or even less than that,
Yeah.
or like requiring your subscription, or requiring you to have money in account so that we can just arbitrarily pull from it by giving you fake leads,
Yeah.
or connecting you to homeowners that are looking for quotes.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that vendors are getting jobs now? Like, what are some of the ways that they are forced to do it, without MyHome?
Yeah, so one, obviously networking is a huge thing. Most business owners are out there on the, just building relations, going to B&I, going to literally every type of networking event that they possibly can, building those relationships. It depends on the service. For restoration, you do route marketing to, insurance adjusters, whoever, detectives, whatever you can think of, essentially. There's lead gen sources such as Angie Leads, Thumbtack, similar competitors, kind of like MyHome, but not nearly. It's completely different. We're not a lead gen source, but you can use those. There's a company called 33 Mile Radius EverConnect that's pretty spot on. It's a lead gen source, and it's rather expensive, and you really need to know how they work and understand their terms and conditions. But there are so many.
Yeah.
There are so many.
But
you
none
could
of them
use
are
organic,
like essentially free.
No, and like Google, you can use Google, Bing, Microsoft, anything, and just use SEO to your advantage and utilize PPC, LSA. There's a million ways to drive traffic to your website and get customers. Essentially, it's damn expensive.
Yeah,
it is so expensive, and Google's algorithm is changing all the time. So you essentially need somebody that's studying it on Google Analytics and knows how SEO works and how it's changing every single day. And that's extremely time consuming. The average business owner, one, doesn't have enough time. Two, they don't give a shit about that.
No,
they don't care. They want to get out there and help the customer.
Yeah.
And obviously make money. There's nothing wrong with generating revenue.
No.
So we definitely take care of our vendors so much more than every single other lead gen source, any third-party administration, everything that I've seen, we are in the hands of the vendor,
taking care
the vendor.
of them. Yeah. No, I mean that it's the difference between what we provide versus how they're receiving jobs right now. I mean, it doesn't exist.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And like if I had this, it's a little tough for emergency services, the communication, the connection piece.
For right now.
And until people understand how you can utilize it for emergency situations, it'll be so easy. But until then.
And the vendor has so much autonomy to determine which jobs they specifically want to service. It's not like they're with 33 Mile Radius, for example, you basically have to take that job or you're still paying for it.
Yeah, so 33 Mile Radius onboarding is a little, it's almost more granular than ours by the amount of services you can select to receive those phone calls. However, the people that are making those phone calls don't know that they're making it for another service.
Yeah.
Or they'll call
thinking they're talking already.
Yeah, or they'll call for like trash removal when they're searching like a biohazard or something.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And then 33 Miles charges you for it. So it's a great company. I'm not bashing them at all, but it just doesn't always work.
All the needs that vendors are looking for.
Yep.
What else? What other features for the vendor or the homeowner that excite you?
So payments, ease of use, scheduling.
What about referrals and
parameters?
Social aspect that we've built in.
Yeah, it's really cool. The businesses almost can do internal networking on the application, very similar to most other online platforms. But this one, you can see what your neighbors are doing, so the homeowners can directly refer vendors in the area to develop route density.
Yep.
And route density for the listeners is essentially just one service, like lawn care, doing the entire neighborhood's lawns, or same with housekeeping.
Yep.
So that's all built in, and so it kind of brings in that social aspect to kind of do back-end online networking for the business, which is pretty wild.
Well, homeowners too, I mean, most people want someone to refer to them who they've already used before. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if Ken has a great lawn, he's my neighbor, and I'm like, wow, who does your lawn every week?
So homeowners right now are kind of resorting to, not always, but you see a lot of it happening on Nextdoor.
Yep.
Where neighbors will post, hey, I need X, Y, and Z taken care of. Does anyone in the neighborhood know a good contractor for this job?
Yep.
So that kind of you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all on MyHome,
Yep.
and it's pretty sick. And
Because the cool thing is once the job is complete, if the homeowner agrees to it, almost kind of like Venmo a little bit, where like you could make your transactions public. So the same thing on MyHome, you could actually post on a story or on a feed, essentially, who you're using for these services, so that your neighbors can, have insight into the great work that's been been done, and then instantly book with those vendors.
Yep, just see it. Oh my gosh, I just moved to town, or whatever.
Like, yeah,
the
your
lawn care
plants
guy
look
doesn't adjust
amazing.
the blades of his lawn, and it's killing the grass. Whatever the situation.
Yep.
Just click whatever's happening next door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, let's see.
The vendors.
The vendors. We love them. I know.
We do.
They're so awesome.
Yeah, they're really great. And we've been working with them a lot. So like I've been having a lot of conversations with the vendors almost every week, essentially. And they have been so helpful with everything from their operations to understanding how they operate, schedule, book, their threshold days, pricing models, literally everything, the way they operate, and just using that data to build this app. And it's been incredibly insightful.
I know, because if we didn't have that insight from the vendors who are
difficult.
on the job every single day doing the work, how would we know what features need to be built into this platform?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Very cool.
But yeah, again, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. This was actually fun.
Yeah. We'll do it again. We're just going to we'll just like once a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We'll just, because there'll be new things going on.
Yeah, we could talk about all the feature updates or like.
Exactly. Like this is like the best way, I think, to get the information out there, like what we're actually working on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And
it's cool
pretty
because
natural
everyone has different perspectives and like, different ways to describe it. And
like Joel's gonna be like, well, the code.
Yeah. MongoDB.
AWS.
It's cool because like everyone has a different thing that excites them too,
Yeah.
So it's awesome to kind of like put the whole picture together.
It is.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Very good. Thanks, Ken.